Let's talk about Farzar, Netflix's latest animated sci-fi epic that fills the gap for those yearning for some quirky space randomness. I'm gonna provide my own personal thoughts and feelings on this first season, breaking down key plot details and character details, which means there will be spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. Farzar is first and foremost a comedy show, and comedy, as we know, is the most subjective genre. The humour in Farzar will not appeal to everybody, so if this is your thing and you find it hilarious, then that's awesome. Farzar is the latest show from the minds behind Paradise P.D. and Brickleberry, so if you're familiar with those shows, you'll probably know what you're getting yourself in for here. A lot of vulgarity, toilet humour, random cutaway gags, and generally blunt force trauma type humour that constantly sledgehammers you with harshness. If that's your bag, then Farzar more than delivers on its promise with 10 episodes packed full of that flavour of comedy. However, for the purposes of my honest review, I need to be upfront and say that the humour here really isn't for me. It feels incredibly surface level, where shock factor is utilised in every nook and cranny in the script possible, and a lot of gags just come across as totally shoehorned in. It wants to be a relay of constant punches, whereas I'm more of a fan of more situational comedy, where the scenarios take their time to breathe a little bit to deliver a haymaker come the end. Farzar never achieves this, and at times can make a joke and then re-shove it down your throat multiple times, such as the episode where Prince Faikal has multiple heads attached to his body, one of which shouts the word cucumber and then proceeds to shout cucumber another half a dozen times or so. Farzar eyes up the viewer as a punching bag and targets them with a flurry of rabbit punches, which, if that's your thing, you'll enjoy it, but for me there was never a knockout moment. Here's a little selection of examples of the flavour of gags I'm personally not a big fan of, for just how sudden and unsharpened they are.
That is straight up offensive. Where's my goddamn reach around?
Damn you, Daddy! Why didn't you let me brag to my friends about touchy time?
Why are you always cooking, Agnes? It smells like cat piss. I have a birthmark on my ass in the shape of a treasure map.
Bud's farts.
Yeah, all right. The hard part's getting it centered.
I put my tongue in his butthole. That's how we reproduce.
Hopefully you understand a little more what I mean there by showing those clips. However, it doesn't mean to say I can't enjoy the show. After all, there are many cartoon shows I don't find particularly hilarious, but I still thoroughly enjoy them if they're creative enough conceptually. Sadly, I think Farzar lacks in this department too. In episode 1, there's a fourth wall break that refers to Futurama and Rick and Morty, which quite clearly this series takes some inspiration from, yet fails to deliver on the charm or creativity of either of them. Those shows have a string of memorable episodes. For Futurama, off the top of my head, I can name Snoo Snoo, the coffee episode, the anchovy episode, and for Rick and Morty straight away I get Mr. Meeseeks, Pickle Rick, Total Recall. But then when I think about Farzar, everything just kind of blends together in my head. Sure, there are some series highlights, like when Barry dates a giant woman that eats planets, and the episode where everyone wears these helmets that can kill you if you think negative thoughts. But on the whole, I think this first season, episode to episode, isn't really distinct enough. In my brain, the entire season mashes together into one big blob of continuous little gags and one-note characters. That's kind of another issue here I have. Every main character is a rerun of things we've seen many times, and I get that Farzar is intended as a pastiche to sci-fi tropes. We even get a Xenomorph parody at one point, but on the whole, everybody here is rather one-dimensional. The leader of Farzar, Renzo, is a big muscle man obsessed with himself. His wife is the standard crude elderly lady. His son, Faikal, is the big nerdy loser. Then you've got Scooty the robot, who's a jive-talking racial stereotype. Barry, who's the creepy old pervert. Mal and Val, who are Siamese twins with one good good and one bad side, and our main villain Bazarak is essentially 80s Skeletor but even sassier, and happens to live in a Castle Grayskull style cave. Nobody here gives me any real reason to engage with them as characters because fundamentally they've all been done to death, and Farzar as a whole doesn't feel fresh or progressive in any way. It's just a copy-paste reskin of many shows gone by. Or they're just written in ways where there's not a lot of depth to them, such as Billy, a creature made from body parts of multiple creatures, and the MO for his character is just weird. He's even got a vagina on his foot. Why does he have a vagina on his foot? It's just another ludicrous gag to try and garner some smirks. The world it takes place in does have some creatively designed characters though, with plenty of locations and aliens that are vibrant and eccentrically peculiar, so from an animation standpoint, Farzar looks great. There's some really great gore in there. It's a cool world and it's definitely packed with some inventive creatures, but really it's the weak narrative threads that made me lose interest while I was watching. Sometimes there's some jokes set up that could lead to a memorable episode, such as the episode where everyone celebrates St. Pudchucker's Day, essentially a day where everyone bangs each other, and every year Renzo switches out for a clone of himself to do the job with his wife because he doesn't want to. You've got a great setup there for a switcheroo double identity farcical episode, but the clone immediately dies, and even when Renzo reclones him, he immediately dies again. It's as if the writers blissfully ignore potentially cool ideas for episodes they can utilize and push further, preferring to bludgeon them with an axe as soon as they can to keep that chain attack of gags coming. Very few story elements here are left to extend out into something more meaningful and memorable, and that's probably why the whole thing blended together to me. The voice acting is fine. Lance Reddick is pretty fun as Renzo, and David Kaye as Barry has some good moments scattered throughout. Clearly a lot of effort has gone into this show as a whole. I've no doubt this will generate a good sized dedicated fan base that will adore it and keep coming back for more, but honestly for me, it didn't really grab me like I would have liked it to in either the humour or story departments. And I know it's just a cartoon, so deal with it, as one line of dialogue literally tells you, and that's fine. I understand exactly what Farzar is intended to be, but sadly I didn't personally gel with it, and that's fine. It's colourful and outlandish and is by no means a bad show, it just didn't really provide me with anything I haven't already experienced before on several occasions. But of course that's just my own honest thoughts and everything is subjective, so whether you agree with me or completely disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below about what you thought of season 1 of Farzar. I've been Connor from Unleash the Ghouls, thank you for checking this one out, and if you want to see me cover more new Netflix releases in future, then a subscribe would massively help us out. Until next time, cheers out!